So Cantor Kleiman said I was going to share some of the teaching from this Torah portion, and my first instinct was that we were going to look at pictures of Sara'at, of this skin disease, and try and identify it, but I decided that might not be appropriate for second grade. So instead, I'm going to ask you all a question that I want your answers to, okay? Who is the most important person in the world? Chloe? God, okay. Other answers? Yeah, go ahead, AJ. Your mom is the most important person in the world. Who else? Beth? Your mom. Okay. Sabrina? Your dad? Emily? You are the most important person in the world. Liam? Okay, a dad. Riley? Adam and Eve are the most important people in the world. All right, yeah, Jordan? Your friends are the most important people in the world. These are some great answers, and you know what? It reminds me of a story about a girl named Rachel that I read in a book by Rabbi Zoe Klein. So the story of Rachel started at religious school tefillah one afternoon. The rabbi at Rachel's synagogue asked her classmates and her this very same question: who is the most important person in the world? And just like all of you, Rachel's friends had lots of great answers. But Rachel wasn't so sure. Her brother said that Johannes Gutenberg was the most important person in the world because he invented the printing press, and without him, we wouldn't have any books. Remembering the lesson she learned from religious school about Zeusia, Rachel's friend Maddie said, I am the most important person in the world because no one is like me, kind of like what Emily said. While that definitely sounded like something the rabbi might say, Rachel still was not so sure. Wasn't it a little arrogant to think that we each are the most important person? So Rachel asked her parents this question at dinner one night: who is the most important person in the world? I think the most important person in the world is a newborn baby, Rachel's mother said. A baby is full of potential and hope. Rachel thought that was a good idea. But did that mean that once you grew up, you weren't important anymore? I think the most important person in the world is the stranger, Rachel's father said. After all, our Torah teaches us all about how we treat the stranger because we once were strangers in the land of Egypt. Rachel thought that was a good idea too. But what happened when the stranger became your friend? Were they less important then? That didn't make sense. Rachel loved to draw, and it helped her think. So that night, Rachel opened her sketchbook and wrote in big bubble letters across the top of the first page, the most important person in the world. She started doing quick pencil sketches. She sketched what she imagined Johannes Gutenberg might have looked like. She sketched Moses playing the drums, a newborn baby playing the trombone, and Maddie on the microphone surrounded by music notes. All week, Rachel thought about this question: who was the most important person in the world? She drew a pilot, a garbage collector, a camp counselor, a nurse, a soldier, a farmer. Who can tell me, what else might she have drawn? What else? Adam and Eve. Maybe God, but it might not have actually been a drawing because you'd have to draw some sort of outline. Yeah, Trip? A policeman, Max? Okay, so maybe she drew all of those things. And she drew a firefighter, and she drew a mountain climber, and a baseball player, and a baker, and a mayor. The Torah teaches us that everyone is made in God's image. So weren't they all equally important? Except when you were on the bus driver's the most important person. Or if you're at the beach, the lifeguard is the most important person. Maybe The answer to the question depends on where you are. The next day, back at religious school, Rachel was in tefillah again, and the rabbi once again asked the question. What question did she ask? Who's the most important person in the world? And hands went up. Rachel thought all the hands looked like strange flowers with the arms as stems. The sanctuary was a garden of ideas. After hearing the many ideas of her classmates, Rachel raised her hand. Yes, the rabbi said, calling on her. I think the most important person in the world is the person sitting next to you. The sanctuary was silent for a moment. Then Rachel's classmates all started looking to their right and their left with eyes bright, as if observing something new about the people around them. Then the sanctuary erupted in chatter. You're really important. You're really important too. I must be important because I'm sitting next to the most important person in the world. What happens when we consider this answer? When the most important person in the world is the person sitting next to us. In our Torah portion, the skin disease we read about prevents an individual from being near anyone else when they are contagious. And then it gives us specific instructions about how to re-welcome that person back into the community once they are well. This teaches us the value and importance of being with others, the value of seeing the importance in each other. If the most important person in the world is the person sitting next to you, that means that you have a responsibility toward that person. It means that you have a responsibility to make sure they feel safe and supported. The person sitting next to you, whoever they are, is unique. There is no one like them in the world. They are special and precious. So turn to the person sitting next to you and let them know that they are the most important person in the world. Turn to the person on your other side, if there is, and tell them they're the most important person in the world. And let us continue to recognize what we gain when we greet each person as the most important person in the world. Shabbat Shalom.
יישר כוח.